everyone. Thank you so much for being here on this fortunately sunny day on Governor's Island. And thanks to the NYC Poetry Festival for having us here. I'm pleased to welcome Maria Prudente to the stage. Maria has been a contributor to Inklette Magazine and was also a former Prose Editor. So she, like other editors, kept the boat afloat while I was the one dangerously rocking it most of the time. So thank you so much, Maria, and I look forward to hearing your poems.
Hello, everybody. I'm gonna ask my actor friends, is it good volume? Yeah? Okay, great. Okay, so thank you, Devanshi. Inklette Magazine is a great literary journal if you can read it online. I used to be an editor for it and I really enjoyed it. All right, so I'm gonna read you guys some poems. A lot of them are sad because it was during quarantine when I wrote a lot of them. But there's gonna be some fun ones in there. So the first one is called Looking Glass. I wrote it after a breakup. Smudged fingers from some time last fall stain the truncated cylinder. My deformed eyes reflect back to me how the paper hugs the bottom, reminds me I'm cheap, reminds me I'm alone, but that depends on what's inside it. Withered by Sunday, thirst to be renewed, it smells April sadness, how he turned to stone, how he could soothe soft batter for me into 2 unblemished rings of buttermilk. I would watch them curdle and clot before taking a bite of invisible acid. Monday's sun thrusts orange through the center before lighting the room a gradient blue. I suppose all of this is because I never came up to see your apartment. A pink towel hangs off the fire escape in the wind. A child cries in harmony with the howling dog. Single women face a 23% higher mortality risk. I don't have a thick skin built up around it. Upstate. Raindrops turn to oil on his brown butter skin before he pours me wine, before he pulls me in. He traces the curves of my face, the rounding of my chin, and in the crook of his chest, I can't remember where I've been. There in the crook of my rust couch, I pretend my summer feet haven't stained his bed sheets yet. I suffocate an ice cube under my tongue to keep us from burning, to keep the machine breathing. Raw umber eyes my candle fading, so he sits taller while my seat cracks apart, shrinks, and becomes smaller. Let's pretend we haven't met yet. Tell me how much you like to look at lonely trees, and how with you I can see the color in anything, because anything with you feels like everything. Sunflowers line the corner of my bald living room because they take up space I saved for you. There in the crook of my rust couch, I wait for autumn to begin, for the magpies to draw us in. This next poem is called Like Water, and it was published at Cathexis Northwest Press. I wrote it in the wake of the George Floyd murder and the protests. Bradley Allen Czar is in the audience. He was with me protesting in the streets for Black Lives Matter all last summer. So this is called Like Water. Tonight, we split the fear of our lives toward the exhausted sky, desperately as a bull forcing his horns into flesh. The people cry. We charge the streets free of delirium, screaming to fill the centuries of deafening silence. Soaked in Thursday's sweat, we demand the memory of Brianna through Friday's afternoon rainfall. Move like water, they tell us. What is the remedy? It's us, the force that drives the water, and Tamika, our Poseidon. Saturday, we burn lines in our weary throats as we leap octaves, tipping over park benches to cry out for change. Sunday, we grieve in numbers beneath the prying choppers hunting us. We zigzag through streets, we move like water. Banging pots and ringing bells bless the motion of our currents, shifting, diverging across the corner where Martin and Malcolm intersect. We kneel in lotus tranquility, raising our fists into the air, pounding our feet into the pavement along Central Park West, before the levees break and we are clamped by blue on 3 sides. Our hearts have not stopped, and we remember, move like water. Go flood the first line of the barricade with tusk ivory bodies to shield our sisters and brothers, our chant leader crying on crutches. We throw our rage against the fury of summer's heat, scorched by our seething chance, our blistering hope for the history of race to see its end. Thank you. Then this next poem is called This Is Not Where I End, and it was inspired by my dad got a cancer diagnosis for pancreatic cancer, and I was in Italy kind of dealing with that, and so this is sort of my processing this horrible diagnosis. He's still alive, he's in remission, so things are good, but this is how I processed it at the time. This is not where I end. This is not my spotted skin, wet with slimy salt, hidden by a straw hat riding to Isola de Pescatori, coughing up marrow through my neck from Nessun Dorma. I do not hold that B4 in my chest for months afterwards, still thinking about how, when rocks fall into Lago Maggiore, they seem happy to turn into sand. Happier than my knotted insides tied together by my gold lame bikini, reminding me what I'm enduring, what I've been hoarding my therapist's warning. Muscling my infirmed mother over stubborn stones at Villa Carlotta, where she longed to go, and I grow angry because it's not easy. There's always stubborn stones beneath me. If the audience at Teatro Sociale in Como don't fan their afternoon bodies toward me instead of the trailing cellist, or if my friend forgets to message me about placing her paint knife deep into her carpus and tells me she regrets it, then maybe I can sit with my impending implosions a little longer. I can be ready for cancer. I will hear about my father in nature, and the air will smell like mint, and the wind will give me calm like Monte Marone, and I will begin and begin and begin. Thank you. So good. This next one is called Drag Race. It was inspired by watching Drag Race. I think that's on Thursday nights, RuPaul's Drag Race. It is unsurprising you wing your liner better than I do. Shade and reads put me in a happy mood, so of course I say yes to coming over to watch Drag Race with you. Half-naked men torched by sun talking to fake phones formed with their hands behind me in Central Park. During summer classes where I'm forever writing papers due in 2 hours, slowed by interminable crumpling of White Claws with their toes, yelling about Yoko Ono, cut out of Sheep's Meadow and charged toward the Uptown 1 train, blocked by protesters seething their "fuck Donald Trumps" into my back outside of the Trump Hotel in Columbus Circle. So I join in boiling over with my "fuck Donald Trumps" too. When I arrive 1 hour late, 5 minutes till 8, you have finished half the bottle of rosé bought for both of us, but I ooh and ah over your new magenta rhinestone LaDuca heels as you turn on Drag Race in your glitter and gold to find the streaming connection gone. Thank you. I'm going to skip a few to here's another one. It's called Fear and Loathing in New York. This was inspired by, I went to an acting conservatory when I first moved to New York, and this is inspired by some of the dirty men that were our teachers that we had to deal with back then. I didn't quite know they were all too dirty until I got older. Fear and Loathing in New York. Curve my obdurate appendages past my selfish spine in this lineup of almost willing silk shimmer leotards. Lemon licorice engenders my tongue, burning my halo, but this is how I like it in my wraith-right mind. Poise me like your chimeric prey, your delectable dough, drifting by your dizzy gaze at raspberry petunias between our legs. Don't object to these pangs of wonder from the violet moonlight of our yesterdays. It was no accident that I came here. I transpire. I am Artemis. We cannot shake what we cannot reckon with, so we swivel our consciousness down to the cuticle. We become scarce, we lose our aplomb, we go inward, disappear. One day we'll become wormy crones whose tawny tongues obliterate you. We'll tuck you into your guillotine and our gold shimmered leotards, and I'll take the lead because I am Artemis. It is obvious. New York, I love you, but you're bringing us down. Thank you. This one's called Soft Bodies. Soho in June is soft bodies indicating a life of leisure. EDM sounds like my dying youth, or nausea post-edible that one time at Disney World when I thought Brer Fox was real and Eliza yowled. Felix is boarded up like Chanel, unlike harebrained Cipriani, whose guests park their mauve Lamborghinis out front, and we don't mind today that men in Rolex who spill their Spritz Fizz hearing Black Trans Lives Matter, from the group marching down Broadway commanding them not to look away. Soho in June is beads of sweat from walking past seats draped in cream cloth, obscuring scant light from banana lemon rind tables proposing who we could have been before the rainfall began when he left in June. Thank you for the snaps, Fran. The next one is Ode to My Burning Bath. I'll never tell men what I think while the ink on our check dries next to the meringue plate and he asks me to come over while I eye the acrylic. Or is it porcelain and I'm burning for my best position? Curved back, bowed head, legs lightweight and hugged by arms pressed into torso, just like I'm back in mother's womb if a womb were rectangle. My disappearing dress tears and crumbles like we did into a memory heap, like the nights are nothing, like the bee's bitter sting, like the splinter I get every spring into the toe I thumb the faucet with, and out comes red hot like us last spring, burning, burning, burning my skin till I feel something again. But I won't pretend that I don't watch tarot card readings from the computer I teeter on the vanity and long for our reconciliation except for the bad memory heap. I still daydream about us, and don't judge me as I read comments under the videos and judge the Sag who says his Libra is leaving him for her baby daddy. I like doing planks in the bath, except for when I slip and remember Whitney was found face down, so I stopped playing around and assume form like we did in Millerton, where you spoke of lonely trees, and I thought of you as the sugar maple I'd slowly been tapping, trying to seize whatever sap you might proffer, but now it's over and I'm soaked in sweat and lukewarm water, about to turn the faucet a little harder, hotter, in case it helps us start over. And this is my last one. It's called Love Notes. I remember your skin drenched in coconut and tiny bristles on my back. When I sleep, you don't feel like a stranger there. Open cabinets, and what do you find inside initialed mugs I know you didn't buy that will soon become holding cells for my missing earrings? There's a rock concert going on over there, by the way. Pass love notes in bed. Do you like me? Ask yes or no. Scratch lyrics and paper my morning. Yes! Sorry. Pass love notes in bed. Do you like me? You ask yes or no. Scratch lyrics and paper my morning mirror that tells me I'm beautiful. Fold my laundry and lace my dress with a joke like you wrote on my face cloth when I was late. Girl, you missing trains, but you on my brains. This typhoon wrecked us. It kept us inside, leaving us to drown, but I summoned receipts sinking toward the bottom, saving what was left before it dared the quest to soggy pulp. In New York, my closet door swings open, swells out with musk reeking from the third shelf, and I can't contain it any longer, the waterlog from April stuffed inside the pockets of sapphire leather. When you vacuum, do you look for my missing earring, or do you decant the metal into the drain like you did me? Summer has soured most everything, but I still inspect your notes. Like secret recipes, I return back to darkness, and I go to sleep where your words can't find me there. And that's all I have. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Maria, for those wonderful poems and for, sharing some of the context and the stories that informed them, and so many of them were timely. So it just feels like poetry is sort of healing in the moment like this. So thank you so much, and thank you for being part of the Inklette family in the various roles that you've played. I'm going to end the reading with 3 short poems that I wrote this year. My parents are doctors back in India, so I think that a lot of the loss and the kind of medical gaze was informing my poems recently. This one's titled, If You Should Have to Ask. If you should have to ask, I want to lose something. The stones are taking turns inside my mother's tired body. I'm the ugliest woman in the doctor's waiting room. Everything that comes with instructions ends up dead somewhere inside me. And then the next poem is titled Debole, which is the Italian word for weak. Debole. This city, with knees folded back, sees me feed my lightless head to the fire, dancing where it knows memory becomes exposed and skin light enough to bury. Someone within me waters all of my bones, keeps dead fish on my pyre. And then the third poem, thank you, is titled Postmortem. My mom likes to check in before every poetry reading, and she hates it when I don't read a poem that was informed or inspired by her, because she loves to believe that I'm her muse, like she's my muse or something, which might be true, but maybe not. But anyway, she's a forensic pathologist, so she does all that cool stuff you see on like crime shows and investigates crimes and does postmortems and stuff. So this poem is titled Postmortems because my mom had to do a lot of them during this awful time. Postmortem. Listen. Imagine your body next to mine. Think of the knife that drew my thin spine open. I'm in a room so cold and lonely. It is the slow negative of a stone breaking into water. One evening I asked you how to die this slow, smooth, bent along the edges of my grave. I'm almost losing my way back home. Sorry for those depressing poems on this beautiful day, but thank you so much for coming here, and please get some ice cream, and try some pizza, and thank you so much to the NYC Poetry Festival for having us here, and to the team for putting all of this together. Yeah, check out Inklette Magazine. Our submissions should be opening up soon. So yeah, thank you so much and have a lovely day ahead.